Hey guys, I'm going to show you today how to make these quick and easy but interactive spinner birthday cards. Let's get started. Today I'm working with an existing card base that I had in my stash, and I've matted the inside of that card so that whenever you have your spinner in there, you'll actually be able to see through to the back side. I didn't want to leave it just a plain white. And then I'm cutting down some cardstock to match the exact same size as the front. Your cardstock and your card base will vary on this, so I don't want to really give you measurements because you can make this in any size and you won't have the exact same card base that I do. But the reason why you want it to be the exact same is because you want as much space as possible to hold the string and the glue that's going to allow your spinner card to work. So normally I would do about a 1/4 inch smaller when I mat the front of my cards, but not this time. I want to make sure that I have lots of space to hide the glue. So I've taken my spinner piece and I've traced around it on the card base, and then I'm taking my X-Acto knife and I'm actually trimming around the outside of that pencil line. I want my hole to be slightly larger than my spinner piece. And then I'm going to take my cardstock that's going to go on the front and I'm going to put it on the inside so that I can trace around that circle. Now when I cut the cardstock, this time I'm going to cut exactly on the line. I want my holes on the card base and my cardstock, my matting on the front, to match exactly. So on the card base, you cut around the outside of the pencil line, and on the matting cardstock, you cut on the pencil line. And this way they should match up. Now I'm going to work on my spinner, and because you're going to see the back of it, I want to dress that up a little bit. So I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to trace around the shape on a piece of cardstock. Now I messed up here. I actually should have flipped my piece over so that whenever I cut out the other side, it would actually line up and fit correctly. Remember, this collection has a lot of wonky circles, so they don't make a perfect circle, and it's kind of hard to get that exact same shape if you are tracing around on another piece of paper. So I'm just going to trim around that, and then I'm going to work on making that look a little bit prettier. You could definitely leave it plain if you wanted to, but I wanted to have a message or some sort of decoration on the other side as well. Now, because I'm trying to use up my stash and the collection that I've pulled together for this, I've got a lot of these stickers from Daiso. They are somewhat clear, but they go sort of well with this collection, and I really want to use them up. You know, if you've seen the introduction to this series, you know that I have a really hard time using up birthday stuff and creating birthday cards. So I wanted to definitely start using those because I don't think they would get used otherwise. So I found this clear sticker here and I've put that on the back, and I've just kept it really simple. That's going to be the back of my spinner. I'm going to use some gold thread here to actually create the string for my spinner, and I'm going to cut off quite a bit. I'm going to trim it down later, but I want to start with as much thread as possible. And whenever you are doing a spinner card, it really does help to figure out or to use some sort of string that's a bit springy, something that has a slight stretch to it. This will actually prevent the string from breaking later. You don't want to use something that's just pure cotton. Some elastic beading thread is really good, and then this gold thread has just a little bit of stretch to it, so it was really perfect for this card. Now once I figure out where I want my spinner to go, I'm going to add some adhesive to the top and the bottom. This is actually going to spin vertically. Now if you wanted to, you could have a spinner that goes horizontally as well. Any kind of rectangular spinner cards look really good when they spin horizontally, so you could put your adhesive in your string to the left and the right instead of the top and the bottom. But I want mine to spin vertically, so I'm trimming it down here, and then I'm going to put adhesive all over the front of my card base and line up my matting cardstock so that it lays right over the top. Now before we start decorating, we always want to test it out and make sure it doesn't have any trouble spinning. Mine got a little bit caught onto the left hand side, so I'm going to trim it down just a little bit further. But something else that you really want to consider when you're making these spinner cards is anything that you use to decorate can't overlap the spinner, which is why I have it up in the upper right hand corner, because I'm going to use the bottom left hand corner to decorate. So anything that is hanging over that spinner is going to prevent it from actually spinning, which is the whole point of creating this. So when you're planning out your card, think about that. Think about what kind of embellishments or what kind of sentiments you actually are going to put on the card after it's complete. And plan to have things, a little bit off to the side. Figure out, your focal points and where they're going to be. So here I'm going to layer up some scraps that I have. I'm really trying to use up a lot of those because this card pack, or not card pack, the cardstock pad, which is the 6x8 pad from this collection, I've already cut into quite a bit of it, and I am going through it really quickly. So I'm saving all of my scrap pieces and using them as layering pieces to create interest on the front of my cards. I'm also using a lot of my die cut shapes that are label shapes or tag shapes to use as layering pieces as well. I don't really use a lot of tags in my crafting, and this collection came, I think, with like 5 or 6 different tags, so I end up using those as layering pieces instead of actual tags. And then there's quite a few blank labels as well, so I use those up again just to add some cool interest to my cards and layer up behind some more prominent focal pieces. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that after watching this you can see that you yourself can really easily create some interactive cards. It's not as hard as you might think, and you can even use things that you currently have in your stash. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do so. And then if you haven't checked out the challenge and giveaway video for this month, please go and check that out as well. I'm really excited to kind of send some of the things that I have for this collection off so that you can create some of these for yourself at home. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.